Joining us now to discuss the viability of that proposal is Supreme Court lawyer Sanjay Hegde. Mr. Hegde, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. As you just heard the Rural Development Minister say, the government is now looking at the possibility of allowing state governments to deviate from the central law. They will, of course, I understand, require presidential assent in order for that to go through. Can you take us through the constitutional provisions that will allow this to go through?
See, in the Constitution, you have the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list in the 7th schedule. These demarcate the various fields in which the Parliament or the state legislatures can legislate, and as far as the concurrent list is concerned, both Parliament and the state legislatures can legislate. Now, if there is a conflict between the state legislature and the Parliament on a matter in the concurrent list, such conflicts are often sorted out by getting presidential assent, that is the centre's assent for such legislation at the state level. We have had the land acquisition law in India, and in 2013 we've had the Right to Fair Compensation Act, which was passed by Parliament then. Now, if any of the states wants to amend it at the state level, they will have to amend it. Their legislatures will have to pass it, and then to the extent that that deviates from the central model, which is still now, right now, the 2013 Act as amended by the two ordinances, then if there is any conflict with the state model, the centre will approve the state model. That is the broad constitutional way of going about things.
Okay, so let me just understand this.
Leave it to the states. If they deviate from the central model, approve it.
Okay, I got that part, but I want to ask you, because currently the ordinance which has been repromulgated a third time is in existence, the 2013. So when you say that states will have to comply with the ordinance, because the ordinance anyway says there should be no consent or there should be no mandatory social impact assessment. So in that sense, the state is not really deviating from the central law if one were to comply with the ordinance.
Yes, but the point is that the ordinance will lapse if it is not approved by Parliament. Ordinances have a temporary life, 6 months or within 6 weeks of Parliament reassembling. Now, I assume that one of the reasons that the ordinances may be allowed to lapse is because they possibly can't be passed by the Parliament with its current composition. If the centre cannot get its legislation through at the centre, then what will happen is that the previous position will revive. Then you will go back to the 2013. Then amendments to the 2013 Act will have to be made at the state level and subsequently approved by the centre.
Okay,
so
how will this work? Will the centre,
BJP ruled
for
states
instance,
or states which follow that model?
You've preempted my question, because what we're given to understand is that obviously all BJP-ruled states would like to take the central position, which is do away with mandatory consent and social impact assessment when it comes to acquisition of land. So will the government have to individually get presidential assent for every time a state comes to them, or will they collectively take presidential assent and allow the states that have approached them to go ahead?
No, it will be on a case-to-case basis. What happens is, say, let's take the state of Gujarat, for instance. If it makes any amendments, passes it through its legislature, then it comes to the centre for clearance. The President approves the Gujarat State Acts of 2015 or 2016, and thus the Act gets amended for operation within the state of Gujarat. So it will be on a case-to-case basis.
Okay. My final question to you, and in 10 seconds, Mr. Hegde, I know you cannot comment on politics and what the political situation may or may not throw up, but do you believe that this could perhaps be the viable way to get out of the current landlock that we're seeing on this bill?
Well, it will make for an uneasy patchwork all over India. Lawyers will have, instead of dealing with one clear act at the center, will have to check each and every state's local legislation. While it might work in some places, I, for one, would much rather prefer a consensus emerging at the center.
Well, consensus is what the finance minister said. We cannot wait endlessly for consensus, so we don't know yet if this is going to be the approach that the government finally decides to take, but this is certainly something that is being considered at this point in time. Sanjay Hegde, appreciate you joining us and explaining the technicalities.